Well, guys, I don't often get to be the bearer of good news, though in recent times what we would call good news does seem to come more often, even if our good news is other people's bad news.
It's a funny world we live in.
And today we have yet another good news story here. Well, in my opinion it is anyway, as it seems the USAID shutdown in America is shitting all over political tosspots here in the UK. Today's one being Rory the Soy Boy Stewart.
What a wanker.
Now, most will remember this contemptible little weasel being a Ramonin tosspot that we mocked many times on the channel, and now him having his own podcast has given us yet another chance to mock him again here.
Which means a lot to me, is what's happened to USAID. So if I've had a career at all, it's largely oriented around foreign countries and development, and I have been a contractor for USAID and the British equivalent DFID, and I've been a Foreign Office diplomat, but I've also been a DFID minister, and finally the Secretary of State for International Development in the UK. So this stuff I ran a couple of NGOs, so I kind of understand this world quite well.
So, right off the bat, we get him admitting to not only being in receipt of what I call corrupt payments taken from the American people without their knowledge or consent, but he also reminds us that he worked for the UK version of this shit show, which I would bet right now is doing similar shit to what the American one was. In fact, the Twitter account has a list of UK tosspots wasting your money that I need to go through and crap all over. I plan to do that soon. But to me, that whole bit about working in international development for most of his career tells me corrupt little backhanders might be something he's well versed in. I mean, it's not common knowledge that anything to do with international aid is usually a scam, is it? That enriches everyone but the people it claims to be helping. And adding that he has run NGOs on the end of it just makes me think it even more. I don't know about you lot. Now though, let's hear what I would consider good news, because it seems the gravy train is something the Stewart family are neck deep in, alongside grifting tosspots like David Miliband.
We've interviewed David Miliband on the show. IRC gets hundreds of millions of dollars a year directly from USAID. So all the programs he was talking about when he was talking to us about programs in Somalia, Sudan, many of those will have stopped. And to put it in context, the announcement was that all USAID money stops on a dime, with a few exceptions, which we can get into. Stopped. Doesn't matter, you have a contract. So, Turquoise Mountain, which my wife Shoshana runs, has a contract, had another $1 million to go, money just stops.
So that rabid Trump and Must arrangement syndrome you gave us on election night and leading up to it was because your missus had financial skin in the game. Keeping the Biden-Harris admin and its international gravy train of corruption carrying on. I guess that explains a lot, doesn't it? Which also means his wife losing a $1 million contract must be a real shit one for Rory to take. Especially when you remember the fact that this guy seems to constantly lose out whenever people vote. First it was Brexit, Tory leadership elections and Boris Johnson. Now it's the American elections. Shit, he just keeps on losing, don't he?
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, it's just too funny seeing all these grifters realise the American gravy train didn't just crash. It ran through the station and disintegrated instantly, which Rory points out here again.
USAID was the largest development organisation in the world. It was spending almost 60 billion US dollars a year if you take into account all US spend. And the core spending of USAID was about 40 billion. And then they've announced that all the staff are being fired. So lots of my friends who work for USAID or working for contracting organizations are now emailing me because they've lost their jobs. And if you look at the Africa bit, they have gone from literally thousands of staff working into Africa. Guess how many staff now will remain to work in Africa?
12.
12, exactly.
Now, I don't usually celebrate people losing their jobs, but when it involves people funneling money out of a country to another country that's got no right to it, I'll party like it's 1999. At the end of the day, it ain't any other country's responsibility to feed and develop another country, and it literally never will be. So yeah, I'm gonna sit here laughing my arse off while all these vultures lose out on a shitload of money. My only hope is that not only are they all made to pay it back, but the same happens here in the UK one day, so we can watch more of them squirm when the gravy train shits the bed here.
Pandemic